Hello and welcome to our debut Dell City Eagles Coaches Show with Coach Mike Dunn and myself, Cody Sparks, and producer Brad Reed on hand to get her done. We want to welcome Mike Dunn to the Dell City area and to the new job as the head Eagle.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Well, now tell us a little bit. Did you grow up here in Midwest City or Mid-Dell area?
Yeah, I did grow up in the Mid-Dell area. I've been a Mid-Dell guy my whole life. My family, everybody was Mid-Dell people. Dad was a principal a long time here.
Right.
Mom was a reading teacher, reading specialist, kind of worked her way up. She still works in the district now. Grew up here in Dell City, then ended up moving out to the country. And I went to high school at Carl Albert, was fortunate enough to win some state championships while I was in school. Played under Coach Rose, so got to learn how to do it the right way as a player, and then was fortunate enough when I went to school at OU to come back, and I coached for 3 years before I made it a career. I coached there in college at Carl Albert and was fortunate to win another state championship as a coach. So lots of great experience there, and yeah.
Good resume. Now, you mentioned Coach Rose. How long was he at Carl Albert?
He was 23 years,
Okay.
I think. He came to Carl Albert when I was 6th or 7th grade.
Okay.
I was in junior high or elementary, but he came, and I guess his third year there is when he won a state championship, and I ended up being on the team, I guess his 4th or 5th year.
Great.
We made a little run there. So I think he did 23 years, and he spent his first, some people don't know this, but he spent his first 22 years at Dell City.
Uh-huh.
So, he was an assistant under Coach Henry Manning at Dell City, and I know he took a lot of what he learned here under Coach Manning and applied it there at Carl Albert and made a career out of it. So, he speaks highly of both schools. He's actually come to a couple practices
That's
already.
great.
We've got some of his old players on staff. So, he's been a part of it, and I think he really he enjoys us being here.
That's great.
Gives him a reason to come back again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You see those coaching trees in college and different things like that, and holds true in high school as well.
It does. It's kind of funny you said that. I talked to Jacob Unruh with the Oklahoman just a couple days ago, and he was asking me about Coach Rose's coaching tree and talking about how that could be an interesting story because there are, there's guys down in Texas that played under Coach Rose. He's got 4 or 5 guys that are head coaches now in Oklahoma that were on his staff. When I was in school, Matt Weber at Pauls Valley, Chris Barrett's the new head coach at Ada. Those were all Carl Albert guys at one time under Coach Rose. So yeah, he does have an extensive tree of players that became coaches and then coaches underneath them that have become head coaches. So
that's
great.
It's big time. You mentioned actually people coaching in Texas. I understand you used to do a little work down there yourself.
I did. I spent the last 11 years in 4 schools there in Texas. Spent some time in the Metroplex. That was where I was most recently the last 3 years at Brewer High School with Wade Griffin, head coach there. He's an Oklahoma guy, a lot of Oklahoma ties. Spent some time in Central Texas, had a lot of success there at Elgin High School and Rockdale High School. And then I spent some time down in South Texas at Los Fresnos, which is southmost. It's one of those schools you're seeing right now. It's dealing with all the flooding with the hurricane and whatnot. But yeah, I spent some good years there and just felt like it was the right time to come back, though.
Well, that's great. Given the opportunity, great to have you back. Now, I understand you do, other than just a head football coach, you have a few other duties along with that. Yeah,
we're athletic director as well here at the school. So I think we've got 22 programs that I kind of oversee, which, the good thing is we've got a great administrative staff. So, they help me with the fall sports. They know that I'm pretty busy with football, and so they'll help with softball and cross country, volleyball, help with cheer. They have a big hand in that as well. And we've got a great staff overall in our athletic department. So, it's not as much work as you would think being the head football coach and having to oversee 22 programs. We've got a coaching staff that's been here for a while. We've got some really good veterans, and their programs kind of run themselves by now. So it's not as time consuming as you would think. It'll get that way in the spring, but right now I've been able to focus on football, which is good.
And that's probably important being a first year.
It is.
You mentioned coaching staff. Of course, you in other programs you have, whether it's band and the spirit squads, all those kind of things. We'll see them out there on Friday night supporting the guys. So big shout out to them and the concession folks. We don't want to leave them out.
For sure. Our band director, Jimmy Martz, and our band boosters, our parents, they do a wonderful job. Jimmy's one of those guys that he wants everything to be right. He wants everything to be perfect, and they practice hard. I mean, I've never seen a band more dedicated than the band here at Del City. So it's been fun to watch. Our kids, they respect everything that they do. Our football players love our band and love the support that they bring. And it's kind of funny. Jimmy's one of those guys. He understands football, so he knows when not to play and when to be louder and when to get rowdy up there. And we make a big deal of our fight song and our alma mater.
Yeah.
Our kids respect those things that are dear to our school. So he's a good one. He makes my job a lot more fun whenever you can work hand in hand with the band director and everything is smooth and both programs support each other. So
that's good.
Big shout out to those guys for sure.
Helps they're not playing when the quarterback's calling out the cadence.
Yes. That's a conversation we just had on the phone. So yeah, for sure.
Now, with you on your coaching staff, I know you mentioned some former Carl Albert grads.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about those guys.
We've got, my assistant head coach, defensive coordinator is Robert Jones. He he graduated from Carl Albert in 2001. So he was on a few of those state championship teams as well with us. He went and played college ball at Oklahoma State, played corner there. He was an all Big 12 guy. He had some opportunities to play at some higher levels as well. So Coach Jones brings a lot of experience. He's kind of the hammer. Our kids know that if you're getting disciplined, it's usually by Coach Jones. He carries what we call the list in his pocket.
Oh, no.
He's got a little pocketbook, and if you get on the list, you're running extra. So he's kind of our hammer. But the kids end up loving him. It's kind of funny everywhere we go. Kids end up loving him the most, even though he's kind of the hardest one. But you find out kids usually want that kind of structure. So glad to have him around. Coach Jason Madonna, he graduated from Carl Albert in 03. So you had Jones 01, me 02, Madonna 03. He's the offensive coordinator. He's an offensive line guy. He's recently been the head coach at Bethel the last 4 years, and then I was able to get him over here to Del City. So glad to have him back. He's a Mid-Del guy. That was one of the things that was important to me and important to our staff was getting Mid-Del people back, people that care about this place and know the dynamic and know how great Del City can be. So that was important. Who else? We got Remente Bynum. He's an old Carl Albert grad. He was 96 grad. He played college ball at Vanderbilt, offensive lineman. So he's helping with our offensive line.
Must be smart too.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. He is. 4-year degree there. You got to have a little something about you. So Remente, he does a great job for us. And then Carl Albert, Coach Rose's tree. There's a couple of Del City grads that are on staff. Mike Woods, who played at OU. Mike is still on staff with us, and he played underneath Coach Rose. And then Joby Hooper, who was class of 1984. He was an All-Stater here at Del City. He wanted to come back. He's volunteering for us. He wanted to come back and give back to his hometown and his school that he loves. So, we're fortunate to have guys like that care about the place.
That's great. And especially knowing the guys that you played ball with in high school, you kind of already have that.
For sure. Shared some common bonds. Yeah, for sure. We had some successes together and had some failures together. I mean, won some games, lost some games, and, you grow from that as people. And, Coach Jones, he's been with me down in Texas for 10 years now, so that part's easy. With Coach Madonna, we're buddies, teammates in high school, and we've kept in touch all throughout our careers. I always knew where he was. He knew where I was. Never had an opportunity to work together until now, but it's just like yesterday. We played on the same offensive line together.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so, you talk about being a unit, and we were that in high school, and so now it's made this real seamless and easy. So.
Yeah, knowing who goes high and who goes low, right?
For sure, yeah.
Not that we do that.
Depends on who you play,
Now, I mentioned, who's overseeing the special teams?
Well, we kind of do it as a group. Matt Looney has kind of taken that role as our go-to guy on the special teams. But we're good about spreading out the duties and not making sure that it's not one guy just having to do all of it. Yeah. So Coach Looney's overseeing it, and he was most recently the head coach at Little Axe for the last 2 years. So that's been good. I've got a couple guys. I've got 3 coaches that have head coaching experience. So me being in my first head coaching job, especially being an athletic director and the part that consumes your time there, it's good to have guys I can go to and And I can lean on him for advice. I can talk to him about procedures in Oklahoma since I haven't been here. You know, that's been good. You know, and Matt, he's got a lot of great experience, and it's one of the things I liked about when he came over to interview with me. You know, I started talking to him about Ted Durrell and Coach Martin out at Jones and some of the guys that he's worked with, and it's guys that have a lot of good experience and a lot of wins. So, you know, that was big to me to get him around and then make sure to give him some duty because he's been a head coach. So, you know, make sure he's got duties and knows that he's a big part of what we do. So
I used to have a coach that said, you have to learn how to win.
Sure.
You know? Sometimes you may win a game, but to be great, you have to learn how to win.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You got to learn how to win. You got to learn how to lose too. You know,
exactly.
I mean, that's another thing I was just talking to our band director about a while ago. We're always going to win or lose by the code. I mean, we're going to do things right, and they're going to know. And I talk to our kids all the time. We don't ever lose. We might run out of time, but we're not going to lose, and you're going to hold your head high. As long as you know you went out there and you gave it your all and you played the best you can, we'll be happy with the guys. So
that's what I tell my daughter. I coach her soccer team.
There you go.
Hey, you go out there and you try your hardest and you do your best.
There you go.
If you tried your hardest, then you did your best.
You can look in the mirror. You can go to sleep. You can sleep that night knowing you gave it your all. For sure.
Wasn't that watch third strike that went by? Yeah, I can feel you. We'll check in with you a little bit about preseason. I know at least growing up and stuff, you always heard about two-a-days and those kind of things. Is that something they're still doing, or?
Well, kind of. You know, a lot of places now have gone to one long practice. You know, the OSSAA, your rules, you can go 2.5 hours. You have to come off for an hour, then you can go back on. And so our process this year, instead of trying to get kids to come up early in the morning and then take off for a long time and then bring them back in the afternoon, we have to go and we got to get kids picked up. And you know, it wouldn't have been fair to try to get coaches have to run back and forth all over the place picking kids up. So we just went the one long one in the morning. We'd come off. We gave our kids a snack. We'd have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and Gatorade, things like that. We'd come in and get off our feet for a little bit for about an hour, and then we would go back on. So we just did it all in the morning. It's a grind. You know, it's not easy. It's not what we did back then when we were there at 8 in the morning till 11 and then came back from 7 to 10 at night. It wasn't that, but it's, you know, we were there from 8 to 12, 8 to 12:30, something like that every morning. So we did that for about a week, you know, and then when we got to that 5th day, we put on our pads and did our inter squad scrimmage and went from there. And our camp kind of slowed down after that 2nd week. So it's still a grind, but it's not like it used to be with Junction Boys and all that out there in the goat pasture. Yeah, it wasn't that smelling salts and no water. No.
We had a coach that would bring out the bucket with rags, and we didn't know nothing about that until I saw that Junction Boys, and I was like, oh, it's old Bear Bryant.
Bear Bryant, there you go. Yep.
Suck on the rag. Well,
there you
great.
go.
Yeah. Feeling good about myself here. Of course, it was more appealing than the water pipe that we had that was like PVC with some holes drilled in it that had various colors on it.
I say kids these days, they don't understand how lucky they are to have those. We call them the water cows these days. But we same thing going to Carl Albert, Coach Rose, and it's still there. They still have it, but they have water cows now too. But same PVC pipe on the floor, look like a horse. They still got it over there. So
go get you a swig off of that.
Just a shot of water.
Keep you healthy.
Oh yeah.
Now, when did you switch from like, hey, we got to recondition, get them in shape, to installing offense and?
Yeah, well, we got here in April, and so that's one of the. We got here, got the job. I was actually the first day I met the kids was April 11th. So driving back and forth from Fort Worth, Texas, though, I was here for 3 or 4 days a week, though, for that last 5-6 weeks of school. So we got some stuff installed then, but really the main thing we came in, our mindset was, let's get in the weight room. Let's make sure that we're going to be in shape. Let's make sure we're going to be in the best shape we can be by the time we get to season. We made this summer, our biggest thing this summer was our Summer Pride or Eagle Pride. We didn't go in with the mindset we have to get schemes taught right now. We wanted to set our culture. And so right now, I think if you would ask our kids, what's the culture like, they'll tell you. I think they'd tell you that there's discipline. We're stressing commitment every single day. We're stressing hard work, effort, toughness. We're talking about that stuff a lot more than we are schemes. So really, once we got to camp and we got to two-a-days, we felt like we had done enough of that during the summer to where we could start scheming then. Of course, we played 7-on-7 all summer, so we had our defense on, we had our pass game on. We were actually able to put it all together once we started. So first day, we were already starting with schemes.
Well, that's great. That. Yeah. All right, back more talking about preseason. I know you all happen to travel up to Jinx America, home of the fabled Jinx Trojan football. Yeah. How was that experience?
It was good. Getting to compete against somebody at that level, it's always good to see where you're at, a gauge of what you got. Obviously we wanted to go in and win that if you can win a scrimmage, and our kids competed at that level with them. I felt like we went toe to toe with them and actually had some really good success against them. So it was the way that worked. It was a preview, so there were 6 different schools. Well, there were 5 schools. We got thrown in a triangle rapid fire part at the very beginning with Muskogee, who's also a big 6A2 school, and then Jinx's ones. And we did well in that part, did really well. And then we end up in the live half going against Jinx's ones again. Right. They jumped out on us early. We had a little halftime break. I asked the kids, hey, come out and fight. You know what you guys did this summer. You know the work you've put in. We did all that stuff. We put you in adverse situations to see how you'd react to this, because they jumped out on us, and it could have been one of those deals where our kids said, oh, it's Jinx, we're going to lay down. It could have really easily went that way. But our kids came back out in that second half and really held their own, and we actually won the second half, so it was good.
We've been talking a little bit about you heading up to Jinx. Got to face some good talent there. A rapid fire scrimmage. Is that something they did in the past, or is that a more recent deal?
Well, it's more with the team camps that they started in the spring in Oklahoma. It's just a way so you don't have one team just sitting out. So the way it works is you'll have, like for our instance, we had Muskogee on offense, Jinx on offense, us on defense. So Jinx and Muskogee would just alternate plays, and when we had an 8-minute clock running, so you're on 8 minutes, you're on defense, and you just get as many plays as you can with them just rapid firing plays at you. So you run a play against Muskogee, and then you have to hurry up and line up because Jinx has a play ready for you to run. So you have to run a play, get your butt back up there, and get back and get focused, get set. There's not a whole lot of time to think or even make calls. It's just rapid fire, so it's good because you're going to play teams that are going to play with tempo like that, where they're snapping the ball with 20 seconds left on the play clock. So, it's good for that. And then you get to the live half where coaches are off the field. It's the kids, they're doing it on their own. So that part was good too, because we got to see where our kids were as far as what they know, because we know what we know. We can stand behind them and tell them during the rapid fire, hey, you're doing this wrong, or hey, they're going to be lined up like this. This is where you're going to block. But when you throw them out there, especially against Jinx, they better know what they're doing. So our kids, like I said, they went out and fought, and we felt like we won the second half. I thought we were more physical. We outscored them. And we made more plays. So I really felt good about our effort in the second half against those guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, other scrimmages, I know the Little Eagles program had a lot of them out here, and they've been scrimmaging. Tell us a little bit about how important the feeder system is, and some of the work y'all are doing with them.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we're really trying to, from our feeders all the way to our middle school to the high school, we're trying to make sure that those kids know that the end all is being a Del City Eagle. So we've got a great feeder program with the Little Eagles. We've got coaches that are, I've got a coach on my staff, Coach Jones, who's our defensive coordinator, and his nephew plays on the 8 under team. So we're out there all the time, and we're watching their practices. We've been to their tournaments. We've been to a couple tournaments with them. So we're seeing them play. But the cool thing is they're coaches that are, because they've got teams from, I think, 5 to 13 maybe, and the coaches that are in this feeder system are Del City graduates, guys that played when I was in school, guys that have played as recent here in the last 3 or 4 years. So there's people that care about Del City. There's people that care about and know what it means to be an Eagle, and are trying to show these little kids that, hey, you're going to be held to a higher standard when you get to the high school. So they're really talking to them about the end all. It's not just, all right, we want you to be a great youth football player. They're talking to them about, all right, when you get to the high school, and and with us being visible, and they know that's Coach Dunn or that's Coach Jones, those are the guys that are going to be my high school coaches. That helps. You know? So they know that we're there. They know what they're working towards. Even when they don't really can understand that or fathom it. You know, you keep preaching that to them. By the time they're in 6th grade, they know.
Yeah.
They know this is the guys. They'll know who the players are on Friday nights. They know who the coaches are, and that's important. So, you know, and we got a good thing going in our middle schools right now. A couple awesome things, but our principal at Kerr is a former offensive coordinator from Ada High School.
Oh, that's great.
So football background, athletic background, knows what it's like to vertically align because that's what they've done at Ada. So that's what he's helping us with. The principal at Delcrest is a ex-Del City. He went to Delcrest, went to Del City, played football, played sports. So another guy that understands where it was at Delcrest when he was there. Delcrest was feared. You know, people didn't want to play Delcrest. Yeah. So they're trying to get that back. We got a new athletic director at Delcrest that's doing a great job, a whole new staff of coaching staff, and it's been awesome. Kerr and Delcrest both been awesome. So that
it's good to see that those kind of things line up because I know from people I've known that went to Jinx and stuff, you know, they talk about you know, terminology. We a little bit about, you know, they're installing that from when they're little kids.
That's how they get ahead.
Now, we've been talking about other people, talking about the coaches. Might mention a little bit about the Players Club.
Yeah,
let's start talking about the boys.
Yeah, let's do it.
Have you already selected your team captains?
Well, in a way, yeah, we have an idea. We haven't told them yet. We're still waiting. We've got a team meal that we're doing tomorrow, and we're going to talk to them about at the team meals where we're going to let them know who we've chosen. This year, coaches, we're doing it ourselves. Okay. I would like to get it to where we have an off season because, you know, this year we didn't have much of an off season, just didn't get here in time. Yeah. So once we have an off season, we really can sit and we can feel like the players can choose who those guys are, and especially with what our standards are. You know who your leaders are. Our kids know who our leaders are, but we want our guys, when they look at leaders, we want them to look at them as what our core values are. We talk to our kids about commitment, discipline, effort, toughness, and pride. So we're going to base our captains on those 5 values, and hopefully our kids eventually can pick them with those categories in mind. So this year we're going to choose them, and we're going to tell them tomorrow night.
Great. We're looking forward to that, and we'll catch you here in the next couple of days and find out.
We'll let you know. Yeah.
Great, I appreciate that. Now, have you named a starting QB yet?
We have. We're actually still. We're gonna go into that first game, and we've got 2 that we're working. The starter is going to be our sophomore Quinlan Ganther. Okay. He's going to start the game, and you know he's got a bright future. We really like what he's bringing to the table right now. He's a guy that's trained as a quarterback since he was a little kid. So you know he comes out and footwork's great, you know, and he works at it. When we tell him, hey, this is something you need to work at, he's at home working on it. His dad's very involved, and his dad, you know, he films him all the time too. So they're always studying the game. You'll see it all of our games or all of our 7-on-7s or whatever. His dad's always up there filming him, and they study it. You know, they're always asking questions. They want to get in the playbook, and so football junkies. That's what we like about them. You know, you're not going to be able to throw a coverage out there that he doesn't understand. He knows where to go with the ball. So he gives us a great opportunity to get the ball to our playmakers because we've got some guys out wide, and he does that for us. So
how much progression have you seen him from, you know, when you started this summer to now in mechanics and just
quite a bit because like I said, they study it, you know, and so and it's funny, you know, his dad will stay on him when he's out there and he thinks he's being lazy in his drops because that's one thing 7-on-7 will do a lot of time because there's no rush. It's not actual game, so kids will just kind of go through the motions. Yeah. But you know, our quarterback coach and his dad, they don't really let him do that. So mechanics have gotten better. You know, he knows that every rep's a live rep. Leadership, that's really something we wanted him to work on just because if it was the opportunity for him to be the starting quarterback, you know, he's got to get the seniors behind him. He's got to get the juniors behind him.
Challenge when you're
challenge when you're young. And he's accepted the challenge, and he's doing everything he can to make sure those guys know that he's a worker. You know, he doesn't miss anything. Always here. He doesn't miss any workouts. You know, if we ask him to do something, it's yes, sir. There's no problem. So he's one of those kids that he's enjoyable to be around. And then we've got a senior quarterback, Jared Wood, started some games last year. Jared's still right there in the mix as well. Jared's going to have a chance to play some games for us. We would feel good about either one of them going into this game for sure. So that's a good problem, I guess, you know, that we've got two quarterbacks.
Jared the one that started the playoffs last year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember the quarterback the previous season. His name escapes me, but he like broke his foot or
got
something.
hurt. Yeah,
the last play of the game.
Yeah, against Lawton Mack. Yeah.
Oh man, that was heartbreaking. So, but the filling in with that, what are some of your other skill position guys you're looking to start this year?
Well, we got Isaac Beverly's one. I think
Okay.
Isaac was a starter at free safety and wide receiver last year. He's going to start the same 2 positions for us this year. Explosive guy. He's got all kinds of offers right now to go play college football. Explosive wide receiver, physical defender, can cover. He's one of those guys that can do a little bit of everything. So we'll put him all over the field. Anthony Goodlow, another one of our leaders. He's a senior. All kinds of offers as well. He's top 30 in the state along with Isaac. But Anthony's going to play more of a down linebacker position for us this year.
Okay.
He was a safety last year, but he's a big kid. He's,
he's
6'4" and a half, 6'5", 235. So
we've watched him play basketball the last couple of years.
We're gonna put him in the box and let him go disrupt and try to get after quarterbacks a little bit. So we're gonna really rely on him to be one of those guys that affects games for us. Jeff Foreman's another. He's probably our best receiver. He played as a sophomore last year, number 14. Jeff's one of our best receivers. He's a good cover guy in the back end. We got a plethora of skill guys. Greg Wittenberg, he's a starting corner for us. He's a state champion high jumper last year as a sophomore.
Well, congratulations there, Greg.
Greg jumped 6'8", and he's about 5'9", maybe. So it's one of the craziest, weirdest things I've ever seen, a kid that tall that can actually get up. I mean, he could have cleared 6'9". So, I mean, he's going to be a guy that's going to high jump 7 foot as a 5'9".
Go out and jump the guys for the ball. That's great.
It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it. But, yeah, we've got all kinds of guys that I could go on for days with those guys.
Well, now, I know you mentioned being a lineman yourself. So let's hear about the Hogs. Those guys that help our guys
Those are my
score.
guys. Yeah. Those are my guys. I think our guys know that those are the guys I like the best. So offensive line wise, we've got some guys that are returning starters. Harley Kelton is one, big old boy, working his butt off right now. Victor Price is going to be a 2-way. He'll play some defensive line. Play guard for us. He's a go-getter. Love his work ethic. Love his fight. I mean, he's a tough guy in there. It's always something you want to see out of those big boys. Eduardo Bueno, he's going to start on the offensive line for us. He was also started some games last year.
That is an excellent name, by the way.
Eduardo
It's a very
Bueno.
good name.
Yes. Very good. Very, very good. Yeah, we love Bueno. Then we've got some young guys stepping up to the plate right now. Kobe Schaber is a young offensive lineman. We think he's going to do big things for us. The defensive line, Mike Pope, is a guy that started last year at nose. And Mike, he's an animal. He's going to be – we're looking for a really big year from him, and he knows it's a motor issue. As long as he's playing hard all the time, there's nobody that can block him.
Yeah.
So if he'll do that and he'll commit to playing hard every snap, I don't think there's anybody in the state that can match up real well with him. So – at least not single blocking. He's going to be a guy that you better double him or he's going to cause problems. And that's what we're looking for because he'll help linebackers run free. So I'm excited about him. Got some other guys in there, some young guys. Taylor Messner is a kid that's working real hard on the defensive line. Kyron Williams is a kid that's coming on. He's just a sophomore. I think we're going to see big things out of him eventually. So, yeah, we got some guys up front on both sides that we're excited about.
And I don't know if I asked you, how many ballpark seniors do you have this season?
I think I looked the other day. I think we have right at 20. I think we had a couple missed a pitcher, but I was looking at the pitcher. They had to work on the senior pitcher day, but I think we had 18 in the pitcher. So I think we've got 20.
Great.
20 total. So that's decent numbers.
Do you remember how many you had come out for football?
Total right now in the program, it's crazy, but we started school a couple Fridays ago, and since then we've picked up about 10 guys that either moved in or I didn't know we had football, whatever. you know how that goes. But I think we're carrying about 96 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so pretty good numbers. Not bad.
Great. Yeah. I've known when baseball and stuff, we'd go do like state championship games for Chickasha. And they'd Chickasha had like 22 guys come out, and then we'd be playing Claremore or somebody, and they're like, we had 79 come out.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
How do you get that many? You mentioned a little bit secondary guys, and your is it Coach Jones?
Yep.
Now, does he coach the secondary?
He does. Coach Jones and Coach Woods.
Okay.
So that's one of those things. I don't know that they would get better coaching because you got Robert Jones, all Big 12 guy at Oklahoma State, and then you got Mike Woods, who's all Big 12 guy at the University of Oklahoma. Both of them played some professional ball. Both of them had some opportunities beyond college. So you're getting coached by the best, and that's their coaches, those two guys in the back end. So yeah.
How much of it, is like just footwork to them? I mean, do they spend quite a bit on that?
Yeah. We during our individual stuff in practice, we always talk about a lot of that time. We tell our coaches we don't want scheme during that. We want stuff that'll fit into the scheme, but more or less it's more fundamentals and technique is what we really emphasize during individual. Yeah. And we're doing 15, 20 minutes of that a day. So they're backpedaling, they're weaving, they're opening up, and I mean they've got their whole entourage of the line drills that they do. That it's good stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, it's every day.
Nothing better than watching the draft, like the combine.
Same stuff.
And watching Deion Sanders criticize everybody's footwork. Oh man, where did this guy go to school?
Like he's got the right. No.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the other things we want to talk about. Kicking duty. Who's our kicker?
Yeah, well, that's been an experience too. we're kind of kicker by committee right now. We actually just had some kids come out from the soccer team. Yeah. Because we haven't had a whole lot of. It was hard to find those guys, but when school started, we called a meeting and we got a couple soccer players to come out. So right now we've got David Jenkins who's helping us kick off. He's kicking extra points. Josh Tabor is another one of those guys that just came out who's same thing, extra point kickoff. Punters, I usually put our athletes back there. So I've got Leandre Turner. He's a defensive player for us. He's a linebacker. Plays a little bit of receiver.
I think he may have punted last year.
He did.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, he's bigger than me and you. And
a lot of big. Yeah, he's big for a punter. And I was surprised because he actually he doesn't really want to do it necessarily, but he's punted the crap out of the ball in the last couple of weeks. So. That's been really good, been surprising, one of those pleasant surprises. He's actually a pretty good punter. And then Jeff Foreman, another athlete back there. He's a left-footed kid, but he punted a little bit last year. I think when Leandre might have been banged up. So I've got two good punters that are athletes that give you some weapons back there if you need to use them. And then –
and Leandre can make a tackle if somebody breaks
that's the thing. Our safeties on our punt team is Isaac. He's our up back Beverly. So there's one of your safeties, and then Leandre, who's your starting Sam linebacker, is the other one. So we feel good about those guys making plays if they have to.
Yeah, that's great. Always have a good guy who can go out there and tackle
for sure.
Instead of just
it helps.
Throw the shoulder
like most kickers.
Now, of course, I'm sure there is some debate amongst the guys on the team, but who's the speedster? Who's the fastest guy?
There would be some debate there. I guarantee you they would all be fighting for it. Tyus Messner is a guy that he's a track kid. Tyus he's got a lot of speed. He's a secondary guy for us, plays a little running back. Jeff Foreman, track kid. He'd be another one that would probably tell you he's the fastest kid on the team.
Yeah.
We've got a few like that.
Yeah.
So they're trying to think. Kobe Higgins, fast. He's a kid that was started on the basketball team last year as a sophomore point guard.
Yeah.
Kobe's come out for football now.
Okay.
He's playing corner for us and playing a little receiver. He'd probably have something to say about that, the whole speed deal.
That might be a question to ask and see how many actually raise their hand. In the room.
I might get a little race going out there.
Brad's a world-class sprinter, our producer. He'll be glad to go the 100-yard dash on anybody.
We'll get him out there.
Now what about the beast in the weight room? Who's the guy who's tossing up the most weight?
Mike Pope's a guy that he throws some weight around. I think he's benching over 300 pounds right now. Yeah, he does a good job in there. Jamari Ayers is a guy that's throwing around some weight. He's an inside linebacker for us. Who else? Victor Price, he's an offensive lineman. He's throwing some weight around. We got a few guys that'll get in there. Taylor Messner, he's a guy that'll squat the house, and he's a defensive lineman. He's put together. He's kind of a little stout guy, and he looks like a defensive lineman. He runs well, but he
looks like a hydraulic jack.
He does. Big legs, like a powder keg.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's good, especially when those guys get down and
for sure,
ain't gonna get pushed back.
You better be able to hold your own down there.
Now, and this would be my favorite person on the team. Whoever is Captain Hustle. He's not the best kid. He's not the biggest kid, but he's the hardest working cat out there.
Yeah. He kind of fits in a lot of categories, but Victor Price, so far what I'm seeing, because he's a guy that we're going to rely on to play O-line and D-line, and that's tough. It's usually one of the places where we say we're going to have 5 offensive linemen, we're going to have our 4 or 5 defensive linemen, and they're not going to play both ways. But Victor is one of those guys. I think we're going to have him on the field because of that. I mean, he does have lots of heart, he does have lots of hustle, and he finishes every play. And he's he's going a million miles an hour. So it's fun to watch. But he's probably right now he's the one that probably stands out to me the most. We have another kid named Tristan Hennessy. He thought he was a kicker, but he's more of a defensive lineman. I finally had to talk to him. He's been so upset about not being the kicker, and I finally had to say to him, you've got a chance to start on the defensive line in plays, like every snap almost. And I finally got it out of his head that he doesn't have to be a kicker to play. He can play on the defensive line. So he's another one. He's got a lot of heart, a lot of hustle about him. And when he's in there, it's kind of reckless abandonment. He goes all over the place. He has no regard for his body. He's just running around.
Bowling the China
cabinet. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's like a ping pong ball. I don't know.
Hey, whatever gets her done, right? Now, does anybody have a stellar nickname? Is there any good nicknames?
Let me think. Well, I don't know that they would like the nicknames. We had they kind of brought up to my. We had some kids yesterday. We got a guy named Xavier Turner, and he's one of our favorite guys. He's our student council president.
Great.
He's one of those guys. He's always in the mix in the building. He's an awesome kid, but he goes by X-Man, and so just Xavier, X-Man. But it's kind of funny. Yesterday, one of our teachers was kind of harassing him on Twitter and was calling him L-Man, like he was taking L's because he was losing because they were talking trash to each other, him and a kid named Amani. Well, so then they started calling Amani El-Mani instead of Imani because they put the L in front of his name because he was taking losses too. I don't even know what they were arguing about, but they were saying one was taking more losses than the other. So I don't know. Those are the ones that kind of – I'm trying to think. Anthony Goodlow, he's kind of patented – he's like coined a phrase with Goodlow. So everything, like if somebody says something, instead of saying like, oh, that's good, he'll just say Goodlow.
Yeah.
Goodlow.
Nice.
So that's kind of turned into a phrase out there that the kids will throw around. Goodlow.
Hey, can't beat that.
Don't know what it means really. It's pretty funny though.
Sell your brand.
Sure. He patented his last name.
So hey, can't beat that.
Yeah. I'm sure there's more out there if I can't think of them right now.
Well, you may earn some through the season.
Sure. Oh yeah.
By the end of the season, they'll all have some nickname.
Oh yeah.
Good or bad or repeatable on air.
Yeah. We got one freshman we call Head because he's got the biggest melon head I've ever seen. So we call him Head. I don't know if he likes it yet, but he's a.
We had the same kid. His name was Jared. He was on my baseball team, and they could not we couldn't. They didn't have a fitted hat big enough for him, so they got him a snapback, and it was on the last dial, and it still didn't quite. I mean, it wouldn't get to his ears, man. And
Head.
Standridge Head.
Yeah.
That was his name.
Yep. It's fitting.
Now we talked about the team, a little bit about team philosophy. First off, what's kind of the base defense y'all like to run out of?
We're pretty multiple, just because of what we have. We have more skill than we do linemen right now. So defensively, we're more of a 3-4 front. But we've got all kinds of different ways to get to a 4-man front. So we'll try to keep offensive, unbalanced, just because. We can get to a different front real easy with our base package.
I know you said down, kind of like a down linebacker, bring kind of
Yeah. Well, we have a couple linebackers that we can put down and can be just as good at defensive line. So, we can blitz to get to a 4-man front. We can line up in a base 4-man front, but we're going to base out of a 3-man front. So, we're pretty multiple there. Multiple in our coverages. We'll play a little zone. We'll play some man. We'll try to give quarterbacks fits. Show a shell, same shell, but be able to do 4 or 5 different things out of the same look. By walking into things or stemming into things. So we try to stay multiple with our looks, but we're always going to be an attack style defense. I think here at Del City, you got to use your speed.
I was about to say, speed kills.
That's something you're always going to have here. We're always going to have athletes. So to me, utilize them. Get those kids on the move, especially if we're not as big as we've been in the past here at times. So get our kids on the move around, try to make people guess on where you're going to be, and make them block ghosts is what we say. Make them think you're coming and drop, or make them think you're dropping and come.
Yeah.
So that we just try to stay multiple with our attacks.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. Well, we're looking forward to seeing some here coming up real soon.
Yep.
Now, of course, the defensively, going into a first game, can you talk a little bit about just of course, first year as a head coach. You've been in Texas in the past.
Yeah.
And it's a first game, so you don't really have game tape necessarily, or that's fresh tape of Bishop McGuinness.
Sure, yeah. And the good thing is last year Dale City played Bishop McGuinness twice, so we've got a couple films there. So we had some scout film as well. So we watched a lot of their stuff from last year, and we've got scrimmages from this year that we traded with Coach Jones over there. And so we've got a base understanding of what they do. Obviously, anytime you go into a game, they're going to have some wrinkles. They've obviously scouted us as well. They've watched film on us, so we know there's going to be things there that they're going to come up with that we're going to have to stop in game. So the way we usually plan our weeks, we'll game plan around what's their top 5 plays running, what's their top 5 pass plays, and we'll defend those during practice. And then during the game, obviously you need to be good at what you do in game,
adapting
as far as your adjustments go. So that's one of those things. With our kids, they've been good about it. In the Jinx scrimmage, we came out in the second half and did what we needed to do to adjust to some things. So I feel good about our guys coming off the sideline. We've got a great coaching staff. I think that we can fix whatever that wrinkle is that they've thrown at you. Obviously, when teams come out, it's a wrinkle for them. They've worked on it for 3 days, so it's not their bread and butter. If you can go in and you can adjust and stop what they're doing, they might not have an answer either, because that's all they put it in for just 3 days. So we feel like stop what they do best, and the rest of the stuff adjust to it.
I got you. Bend but don't break.
For sure.
I'm very much heard that one a lot. What about things like proper tackling technique? We hear a lot about to avoid the injuries, and the NFL has made it nearly impossible to even hit a quarterback these days. What do you tell your kids about that?
Well, we stress tackling all the time, being good tacklers, but at the same time, we stress the proper tackling technique. We're a Seahawk tackling team, so we take the head out of the equation. Everything, all of our drills, it's all about taking your head out, head to the side. We tackle with our shoulder pads. So pad we'll talk about put your shoulder pad through the thighs. We'll talk about peg tackling, which is helmet to the side, chest to chest with somebody. If it's a profile tackle, someone straight ahead. We'll talk about going through legs and things like that. So everything we preach is all about taking the head out, and that helps, because really sometimes that stuff's a mindset as well. When our kids know that we've taught them properly how to take your head out of the equation when they go into the game, I think they know how to tackle. But they also know we've taught them how to be safe to we don't even say the C word. We don't say concussion, really. We don't even talk about it. So they know with us, we've taught them how to avoid that. And I think they take that to heart, and it's helped. We haven't had one at all in these first 4 weeks of practice.
That's great.
2 scrimmages. We haven't had one, so we're teaching it. And a lot of that has to do with weight room too. There's too many people that go into a season and they stop lifting. With us, we lift. We're going to lift 4 times a week, even during the season. Now we'll cut back. It's not as heavy of lifting, but it's maintenance. It's we call it prehab. So before you have to go to rehab, it's the stuff that prevents getting injuries. So we call it prehab, but that's what we do. And I think you keep your core strong and keep your back strong, keep your neck strong. That helps with that too. So we do everything we can to prevent that.
And I know, at least when I played in younger days, we had helmets that still had the bull ring up on them, and
for sure.
And that was what you were supposed to go stick on people.
I remember even when I started out coaching when I was young, I remember hearing coaches say, and I would say it too, put your screws through them. And they talk about those screws on the top of your helmet. Put your screws through them. That's leading with your helmet. That's not and they would say that because you keep your head up, at least when you do that. Or I've heard even people say go bite the ball. And if you put your face mask right on the ball, your head's up. So you're tackling somebody with the head up, but you can get yourself injured just as easily doing that. So we've just gone to rugby tackling. Take your head out of it. And those rugby players, they don't get hurt. They don't have much concussions because they know how to tackle with their shoulders.
They don't even wear helmets.
And they're safer than us because of that. So that's why we've adopted that. We've done that the last 3 years. We really got big into the Seahawk tackling that you can find online on YouTube and rugby style. So
that's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I know you hear a lot about that, and you don't want to see people diminish football diminished because of that, and parents don't want. I know we'll be needing to wind it up here pretty soon, as getting short on time. Touch on a little bit about things like the swarm or blow up the scoreboards.
Sure, that's a couple of things that we've tried to implement with our guys. Swarm, our defense, our starters. We talk about getting 11 guys to the football all the time, so that's the idea behind that. But our defensive players, they wear black jerseys in practice that say swarm and number 11 guys to the football.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things we do. Offensively, we're a tempo team. We try to play fast. So when we talk about blowing up scoreboards, just putting as many points out there as we can. It's just one of those things. So,
get them motivated.
Sure.
Hang half 100 on them, like Barry used to say.
If we can.
Any quick thoughts on? Obviously, we'd be talking about everything, but we don't have a lot on McGuinness.
Yeah.
They lost to, I think, Carl Albert or something last year in the state championship.
Yeah.
Beat them first game of the season last season. So what are your thoughts on them?
Well, they got their quarterback back. The kid they got hurt in the first game last year. He got hurt on the second play. He's back this year. Really talented football player. Got a really good running back. They've got that offensive line back. So they lost some guys, but I think the way that Coach Jones has it going by now, he's been there 7 years, I think. It's not a rebuild anymore with him. It's just a reload. I mean, they know their system. They know what they do on offense. They know what they do on defense. So it's really just kind of plug and play at this point. They're not having to teach. Whereas here we've had 3 coaches in 3 years. These kids are learning another system. So we're a little bit behind as far as that goes, but I think we match up well. Athletically, we're good. I think we're fine everywhere we look. We're just going to have to play discipline. All those things we've talked about since April, we're going to have to really do. It's going to have to be a perfect game for us. We need to go out and not kill ourselves. If we can go out there and play mistake-free football, I think we'll be just fine. So
great.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be one of those matchups that it's top 5 in the state, I think, right now in the Oklahoman.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Coming up Friday night, I guess, and you'll be there.
Hopefully.
Good Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
there you go.
Coach Mike Dunn, hey, we want to say thank you very much for taking the time.
I appreciate it.
And we'll be doing this weekly. We'll try to have some player profiles coming up, players of the week, those kind of things. So look forward to spending more time with you.
Awesome.
Hey.
I really appreciate you guys coming by.
Hey, we appreciate it. And we'll have more coming up here on Del City Eagle Vision.